Alright, hello out there everybody. I'd like to apologize for last week. I had some computer difficulties, but I think they're dealt with now, so let's just go on with some picks in the Big 12. Now the Big 12 teams that were basically off last week are on this week, and vice versa. So if they played last week, they're off this week. Of the teams that are left without byes this week, they start Thursday night here in the great state of Oklahoma. In fact, it is the only game here in the great football-loving state of Oklahoma, and it will be in Tulsa when Big 12 opponent Iowa State comes into Tulsa on Fox Sports 1. I think Iowa State's going to win this game. Not only are they a Big 12 team, meaning they might be a little bit tougher, but also the fact is, remember, they played them pretty tough last year twice. Once in Ames and once in the championship bowl game. So you got that. The games continue on Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. in the morning. There will be a morning barbecue in Fort Worth, Texas, when Garrett Gilbert and SMU take on the Texas Christian University Horned Frogs of the Big 12 on Fox Sports 1. I like TCU in this ball game. I think Taj Boyd and company are going to do well tonight. This game, they're going to get some things worked out offensively. Now, the last couple of weeks, we've had, from week 2 on, we've had at least one conference game that really is a niche in the Big 12 conference before the real Big 12 season starts. That continues this week as number 11, Oklahoma State, will be at West Virginia on the ESPN, also at 11 o'clock a.m. in the morning. I like Oklahoma State in this ball game. Oklahoma State is a very good, solid club, and it's gonna be hard to surpass Oklahoma State. At 2:30 p.m., the 14th ranked University of Oklahoma Sooners will head into historic 23rd ranked Notre Dame on NBC. Oklahoma is 1-9 in this series. I think that if you want to go 2-9, I think this has to be the team to do it. Oklahoma has a lot of their talent from last year coming back, at least on offense, to match up with their defense. That Notre Dame really they lost the vaunted heart of that defense in Manti Te'o, and then on the other side, the now 3-4 line, I guess. It's going to go up against a guy that did not hurt Oklahoma last year. Golston was the guy that hurt Oklahoma, not the starting quarterback this time, Tommy Rees. Meaning, I think Oklahoma finally gets a 2-9 record against the Irish, and I really, really, really hope it happens. Oh, and by the way, not only including those two things, also, don't forget, as I said, since Oklahoma did not play last week, they had an extra bye week to prepare for this game, as Notre Dame played Michigan State in that classic game. Out-of-conference games of the Big 12 Conference. There's an ACC here at Thursday, also at 6:30 p.m., as the Battle of Techs, Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech, will be at Georgia Tech on ESPN. I like Georgia Tech in this ball game. I think that Georgia Tech, the offense is a little bit weird. Their defense is a little bit weird, and it's a little bit of a weird game. And it's at home for Georgia Tech. So just look for the Yellow Jackets to take this one. Friday night, Utah State is going to be at San Jose State on the ESPN network. I like the Utah State Aggies. I like what I saw from this team against USC. Now, I know that USC isn't the last week. Now, I know USC isn't the USC that we're expected to see when Lane was first there, or even with Pete Carroll. But USC is still USC. They still know how to recruit. They still know how to get players. And Utah State pushed them to their core last week in that ball game. Also, 8 o'clock on the ESPNU, that is, Mississippi, or Middle Tennessee State will be at Brigham Young. I like Brigham Young. It's hard to win out there in Mormontown. Just ask Texas. And this is not a team that's not quite as good as the vaunted Texas team in Middle Tennessee State. I think BYU wins it. The normal day on Saturday games. Here's one of them. I think 12th ranked South Carolina is at University of Central Florida on ABC at 11 a.m. I like South Carolina. I think the Steve Spurrier and those guys, they have enough offense. They're very good on their offense. Their defense, maybe a little shaky, but it's not like UCF is bomb burners on offense. So I like South Carolina. Also at 11 a.m. on ESPNU, I believe, will be the Battle for Florida. That's right. Miami of Florida, number 15 Miami of Florida, will be at Southern Florida on ESPNU. Give me Miami of Florida. I like what I see from this team. This is a team that beat the University of Florida earlier in the year. I like this team, and I like what they do offensively and defensively. Another Ohio, Miami of Ohio, will be at Illinois on the Big Ten Network. The Fighting Illini. Give me the Fighting Illini on this one, on the Big Ten Network. And finally, on the 11 a.m. kickoffs, Northern Illinois will be at Purdue on ESPN2. I liked what I saw from Purdue. As you can see, I'm an OU guy, so I was able to watch a little bit of the Purdue Notre Dame game in preparation for the Oklahoma game this week. I liked what I saw from Purdue a little bit offensively. Now I realized that they did this, that they did that, they did the other right, wrong, or indifferent, but it was on the road. Now it's back at home. I like their chances against Northern Illinois. 11 a.m. games, that's set. 11:21 a.m. games, a little bit off on that, but maybe a little bit before, maybe a little bit after. But this one will be on ESPN3.com, and that's when South Alabama will be at Tennessee. Not Alabama, South Alabama. So therefore, I think you kind of have to take Tennessee in this matchup. So there we go. I like Tennessee. Straight up 11:30. Well, you'll have to watch the Battle for Carolina, as East Carolina will be at North Carolina on ESPN3. I like North Carolina. Don't forget, this guy, he started what was at Oklahoma State. This guy is the inventor of Oklahoma State. He then moved on to Southern Miss. Now he's at North Carolina, and I think that they can keep this guy happy, and I can think that he can keep the wins going against East Carolina. 11:30 a.m. also on the ESPN3.com. You'll see the University of Virginia, the Cavaliers, at Pittsburgh on ESPN3.com. I like Virginia. I just do not think much of the American Conference, the new AAC Conference, the American Athletic Conference. I don't think much of that team. I don't think much of them. Obviously, that's who's going to be in the Fiesta Bowl, like it or not. But that doesn't mean that they deserve a lot of credit for getting there. They're just going to have to win their conference, and that's what they do. So I don't think much of that. So I think Virginia's going to go in there and win. Straight up 1 o'clock on ESPN News. This is new, the ESPN News set. But anyway, that one will have Navy at Western Kentucky. I like Navy. The Midshipmen are a good offensive team. They're a little bit more like before. They're a little bit of an offensive team that you don't want to face, much like Air Force or Army. A little bit hard to prepare for. I like what I saw a couple of weeks ago. So I think that they could take on Western Kentucky and beat them. A little bit later at 1:30 p.m. Arkin will be at Bowling Green on ESPN3.com. I like what I saw from Argon when they played Michigan earlier in the year. I liked what I saw from there in the Big House. They had their chances in that ball game. Now they're going to take on Bowling Green, who's not quite as good as Michigan. So you know what? They should be able to take care of Bowling Green, and I think they will. Mark it a W. 2 o'clock, you can see Troy at the Dukies on ESPN3.com. Mark me down for the Blue Devils to win that ball game. Colorado will be at Oregon State on the Pac-12 network. Give me Oregon State. And also at 2 o'clock, finally, you'll have Toledo at Ball State on ESPN3. I like Ball State. On your regular TV sets at 2:30, there's quite a few of them. Along with the Oklahoma game, another former Oklahoma assistant, Britt Venables. With his new job in his second year at Clemson, they'll take on Wake Forest. Wake Forest will be at third-ranked Clemson on ESPNU. Mark me down for Clemson. Here's the big one that everybody's going to want to watch, I think, if you're not a Notre Dame Oklahoma guy and you want two highly ranked teams in the top 10. CBS will have for you number 6 LSU at number 9 Georgia. I like UGA. This is a team that 2 years ago, I think that they learned a lot from that championship game. And you saw them grow 2 years ago, and you saw them grow last year. This team eventually will have to beat someone, and I think that they can do it. I think they're going to take care of LSU. Florida State, 8th ranked in the country, or in the nation, will take on Boston College on ESPN2 or ABC Regional Action. I like Florida State in this matchup. CBS Sports Network, you'll be able to see University of Texas and El Paso at Colorado State. I like Colorado State. This is a team that pushed Tulsa to the brim and actually beat Tulsa, a Conference USA Championship division and conference title winner last year. Finally, in the 2:30 slates on the ESPN2 or ESPN ABC Regional Action, you'll be able to see Iowa's at Minnesota. I like the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bob seems to be proud of me for that one. I like the Hawkeyes. I just think that they can. I like Chuck Ferentz. I like what he's doing out there. Central Michigan will be at North Carolina State on ESPN3. I like North Carolina State. This is another one of those situations to where you kind of have to just look at the overall statistics. I think that North Carolina State just has better players because they just play in a little bit of a bigger conference than Central Michigan. The University of Connecticut will be at Buffalo on ESPN3.com. Don't waste your time in watching this one. I think that UConn's just going to walk away with it. Now, UConn did have a 21-point lead against Michigan. I think that they're going to... But then again, like I said, Buffalo is not Michigan. Michigan is not Buffalo. If they get a 21-point lead on Buffalo, I think University of Connecticut could hold them back. And I think they will. University of Connecticut in the win. And then Army will be at Louisiana Tech on on Fox Sports 1. I like what I saw from Louisiana Tech a couple of years ago. I think that they might be able to take down Army. I think that they might be able to beat them. At 5:30 p.m. on ESPN, here's a pretty good one too. 21st ranked Ole Miss, the Rebels, will be at Alabama, number 1 in all of the country. I have to say that I was not thoroughly impressed with what I saw from Alabama, but I think that at home against a top 25 rival in Ole Miss, I think that Alabama's just going to walk away with it. I do. I'm sorry to say it, but I think it'll happen. 6 o'clock. Straight up 6 o'clock. Regional action. ESPN2 will have Texas A&M, the 10th ranked team in the country, against SEC rival Arkansas. I like the Aggies. Johnny Football can do it. You don't know about the Arkansas quarterback yet. I like Johnny Football in this. On a Fox National game, Arizona will be at number 16th ranked Washington on Fox National. I like Washington in this ball game. I just think that Washington's ready to take up their ball game a little bit. ESPNU, Florida, number 20 in the country, will take on Kentucky in Lexington. I like Florida. I love it. I love the Stoops brothers, Bob, Mike, all of them. But I just don't think that I don't think that he's ready yet. He's not ready to get that key win yet. So give it to Florida. Wyoming will be at Texas State. Give me Wyoming. That game will be on the Longhorn Network. Tulane will be at Louisiana Monroe on ESPN3.com. Give me ULM. This is a team that, remember, Oklahoma played them, knocked them pretty good. They came back the next week and won. Baylor knocked them pretty good this time around. I think that ULM might be able to knock them back. And by the way, that will put Tulane 1-0 in the division conference. And finally, Kent State will be at Western Michigan on ESPN3.com. Give me Western Michigan. It's a 5-wide spread. They can score a lot of points. I'm not sure Kent State's in stop. At 6:30 p.m., you'll see a couple of games on ESPN3. Arkansas State will be at Missouri on ESPN3. Give me Missouri. SEC foe. This is not going to be pretty for Arkansas State. Another SEC team in Vanderbilt. They will host University of Alabama in Birmingham on ESPN3. Give me Vanderbilt. Vandy's a good team out of conference. This is the big one that's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be on ABC. This is the Kirk Herbstreit game, as 23rd ranked Wisconsin, the Badgers, will be at the Ohio State. I think you can't go against Ohio State. The one thing that they've got to have in this matchup is a quarterback, and they have one. And if they don't have one, they have Miller. And then if they have Miller, they have the guy that's in there. So basically, you have two starting quarterbacks that can lead this team, and I think that one of them is going to end up winning the ball game. San Diego State will be at New Mexico State on ESPN3. Give me New Mexico State. Air Force will be at Navy on CBS Network. Give me the Air Force. A little bit of an awkward offense once again to prepare for, to plan for, so give me Air Force. At 9 o'clock on ESPN, the 5th-ranked Stanford Cardinal will be at Washington State on ESPN. I still like I like Stanford in this ballgame. Just about anybody else, I might pick Washington State. I love Mike Leach. He's such an offensive juggernaut, such an offensive genius, but it's Stanford. And it's a Stanford team that had a 21-point lead, pretty big lead, and they let Wisconsin come all the way back on them. So, careful on that one. 9:15 p.m., you'll see Southern Mississippi at Boise State on ESPNU. Boise State does not lose on that field. So give me Boise State. 2 more games for you. Cal will be at Oregon at 9:30 p.m. 2nd-ranked Oregon on Pac-12 Network. Give me Oregon. Duh. I think you kind of have to. One of the top scoring teams in the nation, and they can stop you. And finally on ESPN2, University of Southern California will be at Arizona State on ESPN2. Give me Arizona State. I like what I saw from them against Stanford late. But USC is not Stanford. They are not that offensively productive yet. So mark me down for Arizona State. By the way, also, that game will be at home in Arizona. This has been your daily picks. Everyone stay calm, and as always, stay tuned till next time. Everyone, thanks for watching.